and welcome to Beacon Unitarian Universalist congregation. My name is Reverend Robin Tanner. My pronouns are she and hers, and I have the honor of being a member of the lead ministry team here. And a Merry Christmas. If you're joining us online, I would like to invite you to take a moment to check in with our intern minister, Nicole Jacobson, who is joining you in the chat from Birmingham, Alabama. The wonders of technology. We are so grateful that you are here with us in whatever ways you are here on this Christmas morning. After our service, there's a special bagel brunch with coffee downstairs in our fellowship hall where we will be joined by our neighbors in Summit Warm Hearts. So I hope if you have some time, you'll stay after for some bagels and coffee. And now, beloved, we're going to turn to one of my favorites, for which you will need a hymnal that I do not think you have at this moment. So I'm going to invite our ushers to bring out some gray hymnals. We're going to sing number 239, Go Tell It on the Mountain. It's a spiritual composed by John Wesley Work Jr., and the story of this song goes that it was composed probably as early as 1865, although it's been sung and recorded by many gospel and secular performers. It's considered a Christmas carol because of the lyrics, but there's more in the lyrics I want you to invite you to consider this morning. Many say that this song, Go Tell It on the Mountain, was a liberation song for emancipation, the ending of slavery in the U.S., and that Jesus was a placeholder, if you will, for freedom and liberation in this song. And the Christmas morning, the celebration of birth, was the celebration of emancipation. So let us sing it together this morning in that way as you rise, as you're able, for that vision of true collective liberation on our hearts and minds. 239, Go Tell It on the Mountain.
1, 2.
Shepherds kept their watching, or silent flocks by night. Behold, throughout the heavens there shone a holy light. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. The shepherds feared and trembled when low above the earth rang out the angel chorus that hailed the baby's birth. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Down in a lonely manger, that humble babe was born, and God sent us salvation, that blessed Christmas morn. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born.
We're waking up. We're waking up.
We light the chalice for this day, this hour just past solstice, darkness turned again toward light. For this dizzying whirl of holly and holy days, Hanukkah nearly done, Kwanzaa beginning tomorrow. For the many lights, many voices, many truths, and the one love within, among, and beyond us, for this hour together in purpose, in hope, in vision, for this hour, this day, together.
Good morning, Beacon. Merry Christmas. My name is Dennis Mannion. I am a member of our Beacon chaplain team. Our chaplain ministry is one of the many ways Beacon lives into our mission of radical inclusion, feeding the human spirit, and healing the world. Our community candlelighting is a symbolic and powerful ritual with deep and ancient roots in the traditions of our ancestors, as well as a connective link to the spiritual practices around our town, our country, and our planet. This morning, we light a candle of compassion and support for our unhoused neighbors here in our surrounding towns and in every part of our country and world, especially in places like this, where exposure to the bitter cold is life-threatening. A candle of sorrow for all who suffer from mental and emotional health issues, including substance abuse and all other destructive addictions, and for their loved ones who also suffer. We light a candle of gratitude for organizations that Beacon supports, like Summit Warm Hearts and 12-Step Fellowship groups that provide a source of comfort and hope for so many. We light a candle of joy for Helen Kerr and Chris Kellogg as they welcome a new grandson into the world. Congratulations. Miles. Congratulations. We light a candle of joy to the world this Christmas morning as we celebrate the embodiment of divine love in ourselves and in our neighbors. For this and for so much more, we invite you now to come forward to light a candle here in our sanctuary or wherever you may be.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I can do. used to think God was the sun. Yes, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth and the sky and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, needing us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I can do. Command my hands, what must they do? Oh Lord, command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new, and God needs us to shine its light as me, as you, so use me. Oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I can do. Show me all that I can do. Show me all that I can do.
Jackie, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I neglected to mention I'm Helen Kerr. I'm the worship associate this morning. I answer to she and other pronouns of the kind. And this is our first reading. It's a Christmas poem by the Reverend Teresa Ninan Soto. Let's see, okay. It doesn't seem like much. One emperor, one mandate, one census. 2 young people traveling, and a young woman pregnant and feeling every bump on the road, every vertebra of the laden donkey. And arriving to their destination late in the purple night, lit by one bright star. And so many cold shoulders. No, they said, no room here. Not good news for someone so near. And what about the backache and the contractions? So near to giving birth? And sometimes that moment is exalted as the advent arrival of the liberator. But the truth is that dullness of heart, flatness of courage is the same as the no, the same as cold shoulders, rolling eyes, and doors blithely thrown shut. No angel, no astrologer, no star, and no sheep can convince a heart closed to the natural yes of the people around us, neighbor, kin, and about to be friend. What can we liberate if we cannot see the journey as an example of our own? Throw open the door, make ready the space, love as if there is no other medicine. What if you are not the righteous innkeeper, but instead the manger, the stable, the haven of rest?
We now enter into a time of centering and meditation. There is no right or wrong way to meditate. We relax and let go of our need to be perfect. We accept our imperfection, and we let go of judgment of others and ourselves. We continually return to the present moment, this moment, and this moment, and now this moment. Find a quiet, comfortable position where you sit. Close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath. Notice the places where your body rests. On your chair, feet on the floor, hands in your lap. Let the rhythm of your breath lead your attention across your body, starting from your toes and your feet to your legs and your knees, your seat, belly, back, arms, hands, fingers, your chest, shoulders, your neck, your face, and your head. Spend time noticing where pressure or tension or relaxation are in your body without rushing past. Just notice. No judgment. Let your body speak its prayer. In this present moment, we come into union with the millions of people reflecting this day, this moment, on the embodiment of love in this world. We return to the breath. With the in-breath, we breathe in peace. With the out-breath, we breathe out love. Namaste. Shalom. Peace. Amen.
Beautiful, beautiful meditation. I invite you to stand as you are able as we do hymn 131. And I'll get the tempo for us, not too fast. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, love will guide us. Hymn 131. Let you get to the page. Okay, here we go. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Thank you. In this season of wonder, cards and letters, greetings connect us to people we love. Well, today, Karen Jackson who is still a member of Beacon, even though she moved away years ago, is sending us her greetings in this reflection on wonder, which is our congregational theme this month. I've known my husband Steve for 44 years. That's a long time, and yet he can still surprise me. Recently, we were at a dinner at our college where Steve was one of 4 alumni who were receiving awards, 2 of them for Businessman of the Year. That's right, there were 2. And that's because of COVID and having to cancel one of the ceremonies. But Steve was not among them. He was getting one of 2 Richard Schick Awards named for a former dean and friend who was sitting at our table. Minutes before the ceremony started, it occurred to me, was Steve expected to say something? I asked him, and as I thought, he hadn't prepared anything. But he assured me he wouldn't have to speak. Only a recipient of the major award would have to do that. Well, when the person ahead of him got his Richard Schick Award, he stepped up to the microphone and pulled out prepared remarks. I was literally sick to my stomach. I had to calm myself down. I told myself it wasn't my problem, it was Steve's. He was going to have to go up to the microphone next. Sure enough, when the host announced his name, he walked up, took the award and the mic, and did not pull out prepared remarks. He looked over the crowd of several hundred people, including some close friends who surprised us by showing up, and I held my breath. He thanked everyone there, our college, congratulated the other winners, and said, "And Karen, you're more beautiful now than the day I met you freshman year." And every woman in the place said, "Ah." And then he turned to Richard Schick and said, "And Dick, you and I have aged pretty well." And of course, everyone laughed. Later, when I shared with our friends that unlike the other speakers, Steve had no prepared remarks, my friend Donna said, "Yes, but I remember what Steve said, not what they said." He surprised me with a skill that he definitely did not have when I met him, and that I can forget he has now because I don't get to see it very often. Studies show that speaking in front of a crowd is the #1 fear that people share. And I was awed not only because he spoke with grace, gratitude, and humor, but because he could still surprise me after 44 years. The way he rose to the occasion will definitely fill me with wonder. It's good to hear from Karen, who contributed so much to this congregation when she was here and seems to contribute now, even though she's gone. And it's good to know that Beacon is strong enough to keep us connected and contributing despite time and distances. If you want to give something to that kind of community today, we will gratefully receive your offering now.
Now, out of the night, soft as the dawn, into the light, this child, this innocent child, soft as a fawn, this child is born. One small heart, one pair of eyes, one work of art. Here in my arms, Blessed this morn a child is born. And now, out of the night, soft as the dawn, into the light, this child, this innocent child, soft as a fawn, this child is born. One small heart and one pair of eyes, one work of art, here in my arms. Here he lies, trusting and warm. Blessed this morn, a child is born.
Wow. This is our second reading, How the Light Comes. I cannot tell you how the light comes. What I know is that it is more ancient than imagining, that it travels across an astounding expanse to reach us, that it loves searching out what is hidden, what is lost, what is forgotten or in peril or in pain, that it has a fondness for the body, for finding its way toward flesh, for tracing the edges of form, for shining forth through the eye, the hand, the heart. I cannot tell you how the light comes, but that it does, that it will, that it works its way into the deep dark that enfolds you, though it may seem long ages in coming or arrive in a shape that you did not foresee. And so, may we this day turn ourselves toward it. May we lift our faces to let it find us. May we bend our bodies to follow the arc that it makes. May we open and open more and open still to the blessed light that comes.
Ooh, we're all awake now, including on the live stream. I was sharing with Dennis that the last time Christmas fell on a Sunday was 2016, and I remember it well because it was the last Sunday, the last service with my congregation that I served before coming here in North Carolina. And I recall that day leading the services. It was, well, it was North Carolina, so it wasn't cold like it is here. And then getting in the car immediately after the service at 11:30 in the morning to drive to New Jersey. And Christmas Day 2016 was my first night here in New Jersey. I had spent almost 5 months apart from my wife and 2 kids who moved up here ahead of me. And so it was the greatest gift I could imagine to be in the same place with them on that day. No other presence mattered. And folks have said to me a couple times over the last few hours, oh my gosh, like you're back on Christmas morning here for the service. Oh, wow, well, thank you. That's a lot. And I want to say thank you because it's a gift to be here with you today. Now, that being said, y'all better lean in. I know you're a little sleepy. It's Christmas morning, but this is an interactive experience. I'm not doing all the lift up here, all right? We good? On the live stream too. I know you're cooking or something while you're listening to me, but still, put something in the chat. Help a preacher out. All right. Now, despite the Keep the Christ in Christmas crew, Christmas was not the idea of evangelicals or their most likely theological ancestors here in the U.S., the Puritans. No. In an unlikely pairing, the Episcopalians and the Unitarians united to create the Christmas we know today. It was the 17th century, and against the backdrop of the Puritan disdain for Christmas because it was considered too Roman Catholic, the Episcopalians and the Unitarians decided that a unifying message of generosity could be told. In fact, in Massachusetts, which was heavily controlled by the Puritans, it used to be a punishable offense to celebrate Christmas. But despite the risk, the Episcopalians and Unitarians tried to bring joy to this somewhat dour Christianity in the U.S. and emphasized a goodness in humankind and in God against the sinfulness preached by the Puritan pulpit. Charles Dickens, for example, a Unitarian, got in on the campaign for Christmas. The idea was a day to bring people together, to focus on that human goodness that was possible in every age. A good deal many carols, as a result, are written by Unitarians and Episcopalians, many of which we sang last night. Now, to be clear, they weren't intent on converting people to Christianity. Instead, they saw in the life of Jesus, and in particular, the birth narrative of a poor couple shut out of every door who welcome a baby from the poorest of circumstances to transform the world by overturning all of the rules of who is chosen and who gets to have power. They saw in that story a cause and a narrative of humanity more true, more hopeful, and more needed than the predestined sinful story promulgated by the pulpits of the day. They were, in the words of my friends in North Carolina, seeking to hope somebody, not as a noun, not as a passive gift brought by some magi or passively received by some virgin in a manger, but a verb, to hope somebody. A new understanding to an old tale, just as "Go Tell It on the Mountain" rang out a new liberation from an old story. And they saw that story, what's moreover, as still unfolding, still possible, in a way that their more conservative religious companions could not quite agree with. And they sought an inclusive celebration, albeit, okay, it was the 17th century, so yeah, like it had limits, right? They were broadly speaking to Christians and seeking out the birth of love once more, knowing that revelation, though, continues. As a colleague of mine, Reverend Tracy Blackman, says, God was always speaking in my life. I just didn't have the language to understand. Maybe that theology doesn't work for your heart and mind, but you don't need to be a theist to understand that evolution isn't linear and that old stories contain new truths to following generations. Consider Mary in the story, right? She's often portrayed as sort of a passive recipient of this whole Christmas tale, forced to bear the child of God as a sacrificial act of a proper woman. But this is an empire reading of the text and story, a later reading, not the story itself that was told in those early days. In the text, in fact, the earliest text we have, Mary is very active. And the angel who announces this news to her is not announcing a fait accompli. Instead, the angel is saying, "Are you in, Mary?" And Mary considers, pauses, thinks about it, and consents. I hate that song, "Mary, Did You Know?" Like the entire point of the story is Mary knew. You all know that song? Mary, did you know? Yes, Mary knew. Read the text. Think about the theology. Anyway, that's another homily for another day. Not all the ancient stories have contemporary truth, but if we toss them away entirely, we do so at our revelatory peril. It's no coincidence, beloved, that the entire story includes the following of a star. Stars whose light we so often see long after the source has been extinguished. Stories and messengers coming generations apart to this moment, if we can hear it anew, with a language perhaps the generation didn't have when it was first told. Now with a wonderment, an open mind. In one of my favorite renderings that has become almost mythic of a Christmas pageant, the story goes that in the 1960s in the Midwest in Ohio, a little boy named Wally was thrilled to receive the role of the innkeeper. Now you see, Wally was not a very popular kid, and it never occurred to him that he might actually get a role. And so he was a little shocked and surprised when it was announced that Wally would play the role of the innkeeper. Oh, he studied late at night, going over his lines again and again, especially that dramatic moment. "There's no room at the inn. Be gone," Wally practiced. He especially liked the extra flair of casting his arm. Now, Wally, of course, was nervous about getting this right. And so he memorized every line, sometimes waking up in the morning to go to school, saying the lines, so intent was he on getting them right. At last, the big moment for Wally arrived. It was Christmas Eve, and the pageant was all aglow and ready. The energy filled the sanctuary, you know, the kind of buzz of nervous jitters and excitement. Wally took his place as Mary and Joseph made their way to the makeshift inn. At last, they came to the door. He graced the doorway and said, "What do you want?" in full character. "We seek lodging," said Joseph. "Seek it elsewhere. We are full," said Wally. "Please, sir," Joseph pleaded, following the text, "there is no room at the inn. Be gone." Joseph and Mary looked properly saddened and forlorn. And Wally took a moment and looked out into the audience. Some say Wally looked even deeper into his own heart, and his eyes began to fill with tears as the meaning of the scene struck him. He watched Mary and Joseph start to walk away. "Wait," he said. And then Wally gave out the biggest smile that has ever graced an innkeeper in a Christmas Eve pageant as he said, "Joseph, Mary, come back. You can have my room." Now, some grumbled at the change in the script, that it wasn't a proper pageant, but more of those gathered smiled with Wally's revelation, the evolution of this ancient tale. Wally wasn't going to tell the same story. His heart compelled him to hope somebody. like that star sending light for a new meaning in a new time. We excavate our lives for truth now we couldn't have understood then. My granny loved Christmas, and I always think of her every year. She gave me many pieces of wisdom across her lifetime, some better than others, including always wear clean underwear in case you get hit by a bus. To which I always wondered, would your underwear still be clean? Never mind, that's probably not a sermon. But one of the things that has really stayed with me is in the last 8 years of her life, she started giving away everything that she had. In fact, if you went to her house and were like, oh, that's a really nice cup you have, she'd be like, here. She wanted to be alive to see the gifts received. And so we were a little careful about what we complimented her on. My granny had a hard life. She grew up in poverty, the youngest of 9 children. She quit school in 6th grade to take care of her parents who were consumed by alcoholism. And she had to fight and work for survival. She worked in foundries and then later worked cleaning cafeterias. It was hard labor. In fact, I remember her hands often being callous from all of the years of labor. One Christmas, she sat me down and she said, I want to give you a present. But before I give it to you, I want you to understand something. I got this gift. It was the first thing I ever bought myself that wasn't something I needed. And so it's very special, and I want you to have it. But I want you to remember that if you ever lose it or something happens to it, that not to cry, not to get angry with yourself, because even if you've lost this gift, I'll still be with you. They were these earrings that I wear now. That simple teaching, she looked at me and said, just remember, things are things, Robin. I've never forgotten. Things are things. Hoping somebody in a gift. It wasn't until recently I understood the full meaning of this. About 9 days ago, I was on the phone with a loan officer. We have some debt we've been carrying, and I'm trying to consolidate it. And probably for the last and only time in my life, I just wanted to talk about numbers. There was so much to do. I had to get the stocking ready for a new child who came to be with us in June, Ariana, and Elias, our oldest. Their birthday was yesterday, and they wanted an Iron Maiden decorated cake. There was a lot going on this year. That's all I can say. Bruce, the loan officer, noticed the tone in my voice, and he said, "You're so calm about all of this, not emotional at all." And I felt those little feminist ridges starting to rise on my back. Imagine that, a woman calm about numbers. What a Christmas miracle. And then he added, "You know, I'm the emotional one in my family about numbers." And I didn't really have time to consider the implications of that for someone who was a loan officer. And so I asked him about the percentage rate. Well, it's variable, and he kind of trailed off in his speaking. Good, I thought, Bruce, good. Back to the numbers. But then Bruce said, "Now, Robin, it's going to take a minute for all of these numbers to come through on my end, so we have some time to talk." Oh, God, I thought. I don't want to talk, Bruce. I want to get through this checklist on my to-do list so I can do all of the other things for the love of the baby Jesus who's going to be in the pageant 8 days from now. I don't want to talk, Bruce. "What do you do?" Bruce asked. Oh, no. Sweet mercy, I knew it was coming. I'm a minister, I say. After all, he's going to know my employment. It's a category in the loan. Oh, Bruce says, I almost became a minister. It's a funny story. And then, without waiting for any indication that it's a story I actually want to hear, Bruce starts on. It turns out the story isn't that funny at all. But at last, the application resolves. He has the numbers, and then, just as Bruce delivers the numbers, he says, oh, so do you have some family time planned coming up, some vacation, some time to be together? And that day had just been an onslaught, right? My young son was screaming at me to make chocolate milk. My daughter had lost her homework folder, and I was trying to figure out how to get all of the presents wrapped in time. And so, when Bruce asked this question, are you having some vacation time? I jerked my body back and said, no, of course not, in a tone that surprised us both. It was then that Bruce took a very long pause, longer than a loan officer should take when trying to get your signature, and then very kindly, but in a very concerned tone, said, it's really all about the people we love, Reverend. You don't have all the time. It's not just about the numbers. I looked at my kids and I nearly stopped breathing. I was so shocked at how far I'd come from who I am. And suddenly Bruce was some kind of angel from It's a Wonderful Life. And there was my granny, like this star whose light is just reaching my consciousness in a language that I finally am beginning to understand. Things are just things, Robin. Hoping me across decades. That's, beloved, how the light gets in. Maybe we lift our faces to let it find us, says the poet. Maybe we bend our bodies to follow the arc it makes. Maybe we open and open more and open still to the blessed light that comes. Hoping one another from the darkness of night to the dawn of this Christmas morning once more. And so, Merry Christmas, beloved. Thank you so much for the gift of your presence.
Thanks so much, Reverend Robin. That was wonderful. All right, we're going to sing hymn number 245, Joy to the World. And stand and rise as you are able. Sing along. Joy to the world, the word is come. Let earth with praises ring. Let every heart prepare a room, and heaven and nature sing.
Would you take hands with one another, beloved, on this Christmas morning? And those of you joining us on the live stream, I invite you to hold your hands out as mine are now, hand to hand, heart to heart. Light travels from eye to eye across generations, hoping, helping, endeavoring to magnify the light in you, its vessel. Go forth, beloved, hoping this world today. Go forth, hoped in your being that grief and despair are not the end of anyone's story, and that you are a gift woven into the universe's unfolding and wondering. Merry Christmas, light bearers. Merry Christmas, beloved.